You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. As we just heard, tonight, set sail with Manitoba Underground Opera as they take to the open water for their last production in the 2023 Odyssey season. Set during the golden age of piracy, Verdi's Il Corsaro, the Corsair, will be performed on board the Nonsuch, the replica 17th century trading vessel at the Manitoba Museum. And to hear more about it, I'm joined by MUO Executive Director Brendan McKeen and Music Director of Corsair, Maria Fuller. Welcome back to Classic 107, both.
Hello.
Thanks.
Always good to be here.
Well, always good to have you, Brendan. Of course, you've been guiding us through this Manitoba Underground Opera season, and it's great to have you back. Maria, we last connected with you virtually. You were in Paris at the time, representing Canada at the La Maestra International Conducting Competition back in 2020. Just to catch listeners up, you've been really busy since, a rising star in the classical music world. You appear in this production as part of Tapestry Opera's Women in Musical Leadership program, one which has you assisting and guest conducting operas and orchestras across the country, some 25 of them. Can you tell us more about that experience thus far?
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here. It's been an honor to work with Brendan and just to see the amazing artistry and the family that this company is. So thank you for having me. Tapestry is an amazing, they have an amazing initiative happening with their music, Women in Musical Leadership. I like to explain it like being an assistant conductor on steroids, because often we win one job and we work with that orchestra and we work with the board and we see how that organization is functioning. But through this program, we assist, as you said, 25 different orchestras. And so we're in and out of places pretty quick. We're learning a lot of repertoire. We're guest conducting, cover conducting, and assisting. And it's a great way, I think, to in a year or two, to see what's happening in Canada with orchestras and opera companies.
You're part of the Tapestry second-year cohort, which also features none other than Naomi Wu, friend of the show, former assistant conductor of the WSO. Last season, you were in Winnipeg working with Manitoba Opera and their production of La Cenerentola, assisting Tyrone Patterson. You're back now to direct with MUO. And I'm curious, what has this mentorship provided you in your career? Because it's only a facet of what you do as a musician and as a conductor. So I guess I'm curious. I mean, it's been nearly a year since you were last in town. Do you feel like you've grown as a conductor since you were last here?
I am growing all the time for sure. So I finished my degree in conducting in 2019. So the pandemic is literally half my career as a conductor. So I'm learning a lot every day in a way. And I think the way that Tapestry has helped me is they've really enabled me to make a lot of connections. They've put me on a lot of doorsteps of Canada's leading industry leaders in orchestra stuff and opera stuff. So I remain indebted to their genius ability to put a program together in a pandemic nonetheless.
Yeah, it's been wild to follow your career, and you certainly keep a busy schedule. I was just scrolling through your website, upcoming performances in Calgary, Kamloops, plus the opportunity to compete in the 11th Fiddleberg International Conducting Competition with the Silesian Philharmonic in Katowice in Poland this November. Brendan, all this to say, we're lucky to have Maria in town, aren't we?
I know, right?
Can you tell us more about what this experience has been like thus far?
It's incredible. I reached out to Tapestry during the year and I just said, the program I think is fantastic. It's truly apparent there are not enough women conducting orchestras and it is not on them. So I'm really such a fan of this program trying to increase gender parity across the board. And so, we're doing a show, Verdi's Corsair, as well as what we did with Castor and Pollux, and we switched the male roles into women. And I said, well, we just really need to make more gender parity. Let's call Tapestry and make something happen. And then they gave us the best gift. They gave us Maria for this month to make sure this program this show was going to be spectacular.
Now, I want to be getting to the show. Well, I want to get to the show in just a moment. But of course, tonight is opening night. How are you feeling about how everything's coming together?
Oh my gosh, it's been a dream. It's been a dream. It's this one was particularly wonderful. I walked in with just I got Sawyer Craig, the stage director, into the process pretty early on, and I said, and thankfully she was visiting Winnipeg at the time. I took her to the boat last fall, and I said, okay, this is the deal. Let's go from here. And she's done such incredible work with the concept, with sorting out all the details and staging it, putting it together, and it's just, it's been real easy. It was a great way to end this season on just a show that was ready to come together.
you mentioned showing Sawyer Craig the boat, the Nonsuch, in Manitoba Museum. And I mean, MUO is no stranger to doing operas in unique locations. I mean, St. Boniface Cathedral, Club 200, Pyramid Cabaret. But a boat? Brendan, has this ever been done before? Has an opera been done aboard the Nonsuch?
Not above the Nonsuch. I'm sure in Europe somewhere they built a boat and did it on a boat somewhere, but definitely not here. No, I've been going to the Manitoba Museum like we all have since we were kids, and I would walk by that ship and just go, one day there will be something on this boat, and I just need to find the right thing and the right people who are ready to take it on. So this is definitely one of those bucket list shows I've wanted to do for years.
No kidding. You mentioned finding the right piece, and you've settled on Il Corsaro, the Corsair, this music of Giuseppe Verdi. And admittedly, it's not an opera I really know anything about. It's not the opera that comes to mind when one thinks Verdi. So can you tell us a bit about this work? And more importantly, how did you find it, Brendan?
The greatest way finding it, I think, was 6 months or maybe a year and a half of just Googling constantly operas and boats. Whenever there was a low moment of, those moments where you're just like, I can't sleep, I may as well just go on Google or look at social media. And I went, no, I'll Google opera and boats. And so I did that constantly. And then I found Corsair, and there's one very old YouTube of it. There's like 2 professional recordings of it. That's it. And I just absorbed it completely. And then I started to hear the voices and go, actually, I have that voice. I actually know that person now. And then I kind of just kept putting it together and then went, all right, I'm at the point now. I went to the museum. They toured me around and I said, okay, we're in. I need you to be available in September. Let's do this.
And here we are. Maria, sort of similar question to you. Corsair, ever heard of it before?
I've never heard of it before. So it turns out Verdi wrote 28 operas, and he started writing in 1839 and he finished writing in 1893, and he wrote this in like 1848. And for some reason, it's not one that we know. It's one of those earlier ones. It's shorter. It's very dramatic. There's a lot. It's funny. So I can tell you a bit about my experience conducting this. So we're about a floor apart. So they're way up on the ship. The orchestra's a piano trio, so violin, cello, and piano, and me over kind of on a raft, I guess, if you will, at sea level. And we've got an amp, and we've got a lot of sounds coming through that amp as well. We've got bombs and gunshots and what's the
thunder.
other one? And thunder.
Oh, and thunder.
And this brings me to my point that early Verdi is very much that. It's very much shotgun, blood, romantic melodrama. And
Brendan is vigorously nodding beside
100%,
you.
100%, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, I wanted to ask, as someone who's lived with this music for a little while now, does it feel and sound like Verdi? But it sounds like it does.
It does. The cool thing about Verdi is he wrote what audiences wanted to hear at the time. He was sort of a pop star artist of his time. And so you get a lot of these just really nice melodies over an chuck, chuck. But then you have like the overture is super, super dramatic, just like diminished sevenths and minor chords and tremolos and just like a lot of creating storm through the string instruments. And so in that way, it is very like Verdi, I would say. Yeah.
You mentioned there's going to be a small ensemble piano trio accompanying this production, plus soloists and chorus. Brendan, I'm curious, can you tell us a little bit more about the realization of this opera by director Sawyer Craig?
Yeah, basically we went to the ship, and Sawyer and I kind of went back and forth about what we wanted to do with it. It's definitely as with a lot of older European high art, it was based in a different place, and it had some unpleasant parts to it that we wanted to basically get rid of. So those were cut, and we wanted to move it somewhere else, get it away from its original context. And then Sawyer brought up the idea of the legendary, or if you don't know them, you should, Anne Bonny and... Oh, I've forgotten the second one.
Mary Read.
Mary Read. Legendary pirates, terrible humans, but fascinating story of these 2 women who pretended to be men, to be pirates, did terrible things, robbed, stole, murdered all across the world, and then finally got caught, and then faked pregnancies so that they wouldn't be hung. And just these legendary humans, total adventure spirit. And then just kind of the running queer theory behind it being like, we think they were a couple. So it kind of came down to, okay, well, if we want to take this opera to a new place, well, let's take it to the Caribbean. Let's explore these lesbian pirates and their forgotten histories of adventure, and let's make the lead, who was originally a tenor, into a mezzo soprano. And then we took the chorus and said, okay, no tenors, no baritones. We're going to make them all women. This is a lady pirate brigade, if you will excuse my plain language on that one. And yeah, that is how it came to be.
What a production it will be, starring Simran Clare, Janice Marple, Ashley Wojcik, and Stephen Heiko Pena is our sole male lead up there, performing the role of Skelton. It really is a cool realization, which is no shocker. This is MUO that we're talking about. And if people listening are thinking, shiver me timbers, I'd love to be there, that ship has sailed, hasn't it, Brendan?
Yes, unfortunately, but your play on words was excellent right there.
Goodness.
So I hope it brought them comfort. No, we actually...
A small comfort indeed.
We sold out a week before opening. We sold out last week already.
This is your third consecutive sellout for MUO in this 2023 Odyssey season.
Yes, we sold out everything the whole season.
What do you think that says about audiences in opera in Winnipeg?
I think they're ready to try things. I think they're ready to see stuff. I think opera is ready to come back right now in this city. I think especially with such a strong arts community we have here, and so many singers and so many choirs and everything. People are ready to see. Also, people are ready to see stories. Mm-hmm. They're ready to see stories and just be taken somewhere else. And Odyssey did that. Odyssey took them everywhere and anywhere.
Well, thank you for giving Winnipeg the opportunity to listen to those stories and experience them through MUO. Very exciting indeed. Another sellout a week before opening. Opening is tonight, so if you have your tickets, consider yourself lucky. Today, tomorrow, Friday on the Nonsuch. Brendan, thanks for being here. Maria, a pleasure to have you back in town, and looking forward to continuing to follow your career. Wishing you the best of luck in Poland. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.
See you soon.
See you soon. And here's a little bit of music that you'll hear tonight. This is the overture to Corsair.